friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead. Today is January 2nd, 2016. And, you know, there were just so many really cool comments in the polar plunge, the how does the polar plunge video that I had to respond. Papa reads the comments, but he doesn't answer them. So that's up to me. So I'm going to tell you, everybody, he was tickled with all the way to goes and stuff like that. But I'm going to address a couple of comments that I need to address because, well, they're kind of important. Exactly 150 says, Mrs. Wolfie, you and I are around the same age, and I need to ask you a question. Where do you get your energy from? I have an autoimmune disease as well as diabetes, and I could barely do anything for Christmas. Thank goodness my two kids hate me, so they weren't here for me to cook for. I just see all the cooking, decorating, vlogging, cleaning, caring for animals, etc. Is there some kind of secret you need to share, or are you blessed with good genes? Happy New Year. My genes are crap, honey. My genes are crap. And I ain't talking the denim kind. I'm talking my genetic makeup. Don't get me started on that. No, I am blessed with a really fantastic husband. Ask my son. He's home right now, and he tries to help, but it's taken him a while just to do the dishes the way I want them done. And he's still learning that you don't move things in my kitchen, not especially my tea canister. Okay, I have a little tin that has some teapots on it, and I keep my tea bags in it. And some people are coffee junkies. I'm a tea junkie, okay? And if you move my tea canister and I have to look for it, that takes energy, okay? There was a time in my life before fibromyalgia, and now we're just figuring out that my fibromyalgia started 22 years ago, or almost 24 years ago, while I was pregnant with Briar. And that's when my hands started to go pain and ache, and I was losing feeling in them, and I was starting to have undiagnosable pain that wasn't related to my osteoarthritis and the beginnings of my rheumatoid arthritis. So it's been an uphill battle because I've only been diagnosed in the last 3 years. I've had bone scans and blood things and electrodes to make my fingers jump, and carpal tunnel surgery that was, they figure it's carpal tunnel. Well, it wasn't carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel is just a symptom of fibromyalgia. So it's, almost 24 years I've had the beginnings, and it gets worse. But I've had fibromyalgia now for almost 24 years, and it's just been diagnosed in the last 3. My life is orchestrated to a fine tune. It really is. This is no secret. My secret weapon is Papa, is Wolfie. After 25 years together, and most of it, which I have been, getting steadily worse with fibromyalgia and arthritis, he has, learned to pay attention to my needs. God bless him. I couldn't do half the stuff I do without Howie. Fibromyalgia has made me so that I barely drive in the wintertime. And I only drive if I absolutely have to. They call me the ditch witch for a reason. I've had like 4 accidents where I've ended up in the ditch. And, they honestly have only aggravated my fibromyalgia worse. It shocks to your system, shocks, physical trauma can do that. It can trigger fibromyalgia. It can make it worse. So in the wintertime, it's not because I'm a crappy driver, okay, but it's stressful, and stress will worsen fibromyalgia. It's getting in and out of vehicles. Can be something as simple as getting in and out of my truck or the Hyundai Accent in a slippery parking lot. All it takes is my foot going into the car, and the mat has got a little slick, and my foot will just go a little bit, or it will go 6-inch slide. That's all it can take on the ice with one foot, or getting into the car with one foot, and I can seize right up within 12 hours, because it's like your body goes into I'm falling. Even though you recover yourself, even though you can recover yourself, your body goes into almost like a seizure. Uh, um, where you've got adrenaline and all kinds of stuff going into your system, and then I can be down for 2 days. So I don't drive in the winter, not because I can't drive, but because it's really dangerous for me mostly dangerous from stress and danger for me getting in and out of vehicles. We have a truck. That's my truck. I name him Sam. But my truck, I have to use a step stool to get in and out of. And Papa is going to be putting running boards on for me, which would be a great help. But just having this specific step stool is fine in the summertime. But if there's any amount of slipperiness at all in a parking lot, I risk that stool sliding out from under me when I'm getting in and out of my vehicle, and I'm risking a lot of damage. So my life is orchestrated around my illness, around my physical challenges. My life is orchestrated around it. And like I said, my son will tell you, you don't organize my kitchen. I don't care how unorganized you think it is, my kitchen is organized around me. My tea canister sits in the middle of the counter, always visible, always to hand, right next to the stove. Why? Tea is my monster. Tea is my addiction. It's my mother's milk, basically. As a matter of fact, I was lactose intolerant as a baby, and the only way my mother could get me to drink milk was by putting a shot of hot tea into my milk, and to get me to drink it. So they used to call it cambric tea, which was more milk than tea, but I think it was the heating of the milk. But even then, when she heated up my milk, I didn't want it. So tea literally is what I was raised on. It can be as simple as waking up at 4:45 in the morning and going out to make Papa's breakfast and his lunch and his coffee, and reaching for my tea canister and it's not there. So I look to the back of the stove, and I look to the other counter, and I open a cupboard. And by this point, I'm already stressing out. Okay? And if it's not in the immediate vicinity, and I turn around and the can's on my island, I automatically get upset. Why? Because A, I've just wasted, 3 minutes of stress looking for my tea, and B, I've had to take 2 extra steps to walk over and get it. Now, that may not seem like a lot to most people, but that is just like piling brick upon brick upon brick upon my shoulders, okay? I have things in a specific order in my cupboards, a very specific order. No, I'm not OCD. I just need to know that when I open the cupboard and I reach for something, it's right where I left it, okay? Because if it's not and I have to hunt for it, by the time I'm at the 3rd cupboard hunting for it, I want to take somebody's head off, because now I'm in pain and my organization has been disrupted and it becomes stressful. It may seem really ridiculous to most people, but that's a day in my life. You see the canning and the cooking and the decorating and the cleaning. You really don't see it. Okay, when those kids made that one paper chain and those snowflakes, it took me a day to get it up, because lifting my hands above my shoulders with the staple gun and putting pressure like that, it took me, I say a day, but it probably took me 25 minutes. But that was my one extra activity for the day. Now, my son has become a lot more understanding, because I explained it to him. Somebody explained it with forks, but I call it eggs in my basket. I start off every day with a certain number of eggs in my basket, and when I wake up, I actually don't know how many eggs I have. The eggs represent the energy I have to get things done in a day. Some days I wake up with 2 eggs in my basket. One egg gets used up getting Howie off to work by giving him breakfast, making his lunch and his coffee, and the other is used up putting my dogs out and making supper. Sometimes that's all I have. Okay? So again, organization comes into it. That whole day when my life exploded in one day, where the tree got decorated, the cookies with the kids got baked, and I had canned goat meat and all that stuff. That day started out with a full basket of eggs. But by 10 o'clock that night, I was borrowing eggs from Sunday and Monday. And by the time Tuesday came, it took me Sunday and Monday to get Tuesday a full basket of eggs again. So, for instance, I reach for my tea canister. That doesn't cost me an egg. But if I have to look through 3 cupboards and walk 3 steps over to pick my canister up off the island or the kitchen table, that cost me an egg. And when my egg basket is empty, I am a rag doll. Someone cuts the puppet strings and I'm done. I'm absolutely done. My basket's empty. And if my basket's empty and I push myself past that point, I start sweating because I'm borrowing eggs from a basket that I don't even know how full it's going to be tomorrow morning. So, my secret weapon is Wolfie. Wolfie gets it. He doesn't always like it, but he gets it. And we organize my life. Things like the polar plunge, wow. That was yesterday, and it's 7 p.m. now, and by 4 o'clock today was before I actually started talking about, yes, maybe I can make some dinner. You know what I mean? It's I was borrowing eggs out of my basket. That walk down the beach from the truck to the beach was a half a kilometer or a third of a mile. And that doesn't seem so bad if you're talking about a walk on pavement that is warm, sunny, level, and all the conditions are right. I'm walking in wind with snow that's slushy and slidey. So every step is actually 3 steps worth of energy for me. And then, trying to get in and out of portable bathrooms, as nice as they were, it's really hard because the steps, you got to go up 3 steps, and I've got Howie standing behind me in case I fall. So all these things have to be taken into consideration when I do something. You saw me put up my Christmas tree. It was a very light Christmas tree, the one that Papa got me. It was big, but it was light because it didn't have a lot of branches and it had a narrow trunk. But I put it up, and there it sat for 3 days before it got decorated. And it wasn't even supposed to get decorated that day, but it did. So no secrets, guys, or no secrets, exactly 150. It's having a really amazing husband who, helps me through the things I can't do myself. It's having a husband who doesn't mess with my organized kitchen. Okay? And if he does, he puts everything back the way he found it. My son is home. He's learning that. And he's been really, really helpful. And I have to give him a shout out. Briar, can you come in and at least wave? No, he won't. He's extremely camera shy. I have to give a massive shout out to my son Briar, who got all the red carpet footage with my Nikon. I was sitting with the tripod waiting for the plunge, and he actually went into the crowd by the red carpet with my Nikon camera and got all the footage of them coming down the carpet. So, all the extra camera angles were thanks to my son. So there's also a couple of people have asked me about doing the polar plunge. You're kidding, right? Actually, I'm thinking about it. But like my life, it has to be orchestrated in such a way that if I were to do it, I would be able to go bump, 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 and warm. Okay? Because I'm really slow, folks. I'm really slow. And I ain't getting in a bathing suit. Not because I'm afraid of the cold, but because I don't think I'll be able to get it off fast enough to get into warm clothes. So I'd have to be wearing shorts and a t-shirt and swimming shoes. That's fine, okay? But there's the whole red carpet. There's the change room in the tent. There's the bathroom. There's the, oh, I can jump in off the ice and come out, but it's not that deep. So how are my knees going to do? I can't run down the red carpet. I can't run into the water. Okay? So I would have to walk down that red carpet, walk into the water and dive and hope like hell I float. If it was a more controlled environment, and because I'm working on it, I actually am working on it. I'm getting into the pool earlier and earlier every year. This year I went in and the pool was like 50 degrees and I did it and I was really, really happy. But it was extremely cold and I couldn't let Howie film it because stress and sudden things happening can put me into a fibromyalgia, like 2-day seizure where I'm just not very functional. So our pool, it's easy because the steps are, Howie has raised the steps because it's not a problem for me to get up on the bottom step because I float, right? But the problem is for me getting up onto the deck. So he's raised the steps. But my pool is a totally different, setup than this huge, marquee tent and a, 30-foot red carpet, and then either walking into the water or jumping into the water, which my knees will not allow me to jump into the water. And then my issue is how fast can I get warm? And we can't predict the temperature. Last year, it was minus 12 Celsius with a wind chill of minus 21. And Howie said last year his shirt froze to him before he could get it. It was freezing to him as soon as he got out of the water. So I have to take all these things into consideration, but I am considering it. Don't bank on it next year, maybe the year after. Because I'm hearing, I'm seeing it does something to Howie. He gets warm and invigorated and he's, and really jolly and feeling good. It's like some huge endorphin kick or something. So, for all those folks, and there's also the fact that I would need 2 cameramen because I've decided I'm not doing another polar plunge without 2 cameramen because as you saw, the extra footage that Briar got really made a big difference in the video. So, and Papa wouldn't be behind the camera. He would be going in with me, or I would be going in with him. He wouldn't stay behind just to film. He's no way. He loves his polar plunge. That's his 2nd annual polar plunge. And we're hoping to put a team together next year and raise more money for cancer, kids' cancer. We can't help but think of Robbie who beat it, and that the money that went from this particular polar plunge went to CHIO, which is the Ottawa Children's Hospital, and where they treat, kids. They have a big unit for treating kids' cancer. So, don't count on it, but if the conditions are right, if I have 2 cameramen I can count on, yeah, I might just do it. This year, I'm just going to start by jumping in the pool as soon as Howie clears off the ice, or as soon as Howie gets the last bits of floating ice out. I'm going to try that. If you want to see that, let me know. I will definitely do my best to try it. Okay? This is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, the secret to my life, to functioning in my life, is organization and cooperation from the rest of the household members. All right? Take care. God bless. And Happy New Year.